Okay. Are we on? Meeting is now streaming on live. Oof. A little different on this computer, my father. We are live, although I can't see us. Yep, there we are. Beautiful. Okay, let me make sure we got this good. Why do I have a... Okay, good. I can see both of us. All right, so here we are on Back at It on the Dave and Dave show. Looking right into the camera, which is a weird thing. You really want to, your first thing, Pops, is to look at yourself, but we're not going to do that. Okay, I got everything. I can see comments. On the Dave and Dave show. Uh-oh. Looking right into the camera, which is a weird thing. I'm doing really it. The first thing, Pops, is to look at yourself.
You're repeating.
I know. Okay, we got everything. I can see comments. All right, whoops. All right, good. We're good to go. I can see everything I need to see. All right. So, all right. This is coming at you, obviously, live, the Dave and Dave Show, episode 72, as the same age as what my father turned yesterday.
Oh, that's so not true.
So, Pops, you want me to make a comment on your behalf, saying that my father would like to thank every single one of the 1,000 of you that have wished him a happy birthday yesterday. He appreciates all of them. He takes the time to look at each and every one of them and goes through his memory lanes of what of each and every one of you. Not a day goes by that my father doesn't call me and say, "Did you see so and so got married?" or "So and so lives here now," or "Unfortunately, someone passed away." Like, he is the director of Facebook marketing and current events for sure. So you want to add in on that, Mr. Birthday Boy, one day late, or what?
I'll take it. I don't fear it. I'm okay with it.
Henry actually said a young 72. He's really not 72. I'm busting chops.
Yeah, you will pay for that, Dave.
Although everyone's saying we're twins and he's my brother. So good luck with that. For those of you not know, there are two Dave Tinas. There's the good-looking one in the blue shirt and the delusional one in the blue shirt as well. So
hey now.
You're gonna look directly at the camera, or what are we gonna do here today?
I'm multitasking.
Oh, how beautiful. I guess I'll carry this like I carry everything else. Okay.
It's your turn.
Yeah, it sure is. Beautiful. Let's have some conversations. The Dave and Dave show, as you know, is mainly about real estate and Urban Nest Realty. That's the company that my father and I own together, 8 years old. Technically, we filed in May 17th of 2012, but our official anniversary isn't until July, where we will have, God, this is like a third child for me. Well, soon to be fourth child. It's been quite a ride. So let's jump into what we're going to talk about. We're going to go a little bit. Here's what I like to do. I like to take things in life and create connections or metaphors or congruencies between, or lessons or perspectives about what's going on in our lives and current events, and pulling out the stories and the lessons and the perspectives of how we could look at this and make it part of our business life and our life. So the first thing, we are going to go there with what's going on in this country, from coronavirus to the riots to racism to police brutality to cops. We're going to give you, some would say, a diplomatic point of view. One of my mentors, Garrett White, has a great saying. It's called, "Be a leader, not a savior." And you've heard me say that a lot, Pop, right?
Because I tend to be a savior.
You do. And the way it's explained is, you can't really save anybody. I mean, inevitably people have to figure it out on their own. You could lead them and show them the way, and the best way to lead, in my um, opinion, is leading by example. That's where I've learned from you. And what's going on in this world, I think, is an interesting thing. I think because nobody really wants to be a victim. Pop, what do you agree with that? That people really don't want to be a victim in general.
Yes, I do. I don't want to be a victim.
I think anybody does. So let's preface this with just having ownership over what you control. You know, when we were talking about when the coronavirus was hitting and everyone was freaking out, the conversation was control what you can control. You know, and what the only thing you can really control is your own actions and how you respond to things. You remember we were talking about that?
No, I can control everything because I'm a control freak.
You so are. And it's about submitting. So let's bring that over to business. You know, we get so caught up in watching what another brokerage is doing if you're looking at it from Urban Nest standpoint, which luckily you and I really don't get caught in that game. But
No,
an agent will get caught up in what other agents are doing, or the whole industry will get caught up in some of the changes that are happening and the threats. And they forget, we all tend to forget, that if we block out the noise and focus on ourselves and what we can control, which is only ourselves. And the best example is from Urban Nest standpoint, Pop, is we could focus on, we only can control how we run and own this company. We can't control like if another company's doing something great or another company's doing something dirty. Like at the end of the day, the best we could do is do it for us. And
hmm
what happens in real estate, I believe, is we get so inundated with information and the real estate world's going to change and the market's going to fall apart, everything's going to be a disaster. We forget that all we have to focus on is right here, this focus. So I want to bring it also into what's going on with everyone taking a stand and taking sides and things like that. You know, I've done a lot of posts supporting equality, you know, how passionate I am about that. And I think sometimes people can believe and see that, oh, you know, Dave, or maybe even, I'm not going to speak for you, is on one side of this equation, you know, because listen, my entire life, some of the people that I've cared the most about have not only been Black, but gay or Asian. And you've raised me on fair being fair, right? And equality and just treating people not by any other way if they're a good person or not, right? So that's why I've been a little aggressive on that, and I strongly believe in being fair for everybody. But people forget that you were a cop. They only know that you were a fireman for 18 years, and they forget that maybe we just haven't told the story as much. I know you've told me so many stories of those 2 or 3 years you were a police officer, and how you had to get out, not because you didn't like police being, you know, police officers, but how difficult it was to be a police officer. You want to talk about that? How it was like soul sucking and so hard seeing.
You become jaded because you see the most horrible things that a normal person doesn't see, and it changes who you are. Now, it's no excuse. I'm not making an excuse for bad behavior, but what I'm saying is, and I never did do bad behavior, but what I'm saying is that I think if I stayed in the police department, I wouldn't have been the person who I am today. Because when you see the worst of the world every single day, it makes you look like the world is not a good place. And that changes who you are. So I knew I had to get out and go to the fire department because I knew I wasn't willing to give up who I was by staying on this job. So that is why, on a very broad, without getting into detail, that is why I got out, because
Which,
of that.
ironically, when you went into the fire department, now a little backstory. We love to tell stories. Now stay with us. This all goes with real estate. We're going to link it up. But when you went into the fire department, the irony was your father, Domenico, right? And your brother, Danny, both were in the fire department. Grandpa was very well known in the fire department, the Italian Firefighters Associations, and a very decorated fireman. So you
Mhm.
think that you would have this easy of a career in the FDNY, right? But two
You
things.
would think.
The first thing Grandpa did was stick you in what? What fire department?
In Corona, in the busiest firehouse in the whole city.
And how many fires did you have a night compared to the average department?
Sometimes we'd have 5 fires up in the case. One night in 15 hours, I was the only firefighter from that firehouse still on duty, because the rest of them all got hurt. But an average of 3 to 5 fires a night.
Whereas most fire departments were what, like one fire a night max?
Once in a blue, not even a night, once in a blue.
And Grandpa set you in there because he wanted you to be a fireman who wasn't afraid of a fire and knew that the more fires you were in, the better fireman you'd be, and he didn't want you to have an easy.
And he also knew I was ADD and I couldn't sit around, which I am. For everyone that knows me in the brokerage, I'm jumping around from spot to spot. And he said, Dave, if you weren't in a crazy firehouse, you would be bored. So he put my brother in a quiet firehouse because of his personality. And he put me in the busiest firehouse in the city.
No one thinks you're ADD as you're looking at your phone and talking to me at the same time. Now, ironically, let's bring racism into the game. In your first fire department, give us a story of how you were treated because you're Italian.
Oh, God. You really want me to bring that one up?
Why not? We're telling stories. The
All
only
right. So I was in the firehouse maybe 5 years, and they sent in a new captain that runs your house. And this captain did not like Italian. He didn't want to admit it because he's the captain, but any chance he could, he'd give me a hard time or give me the worst job and tell me I didn't know what I was doing, where I knew the neighborhood and I knew the fires because I was so much more ahead of him. So any chance he got, he broke my chops, and going to work was probably 10 times harder because I wondered what he would do next to me to get me to leave the house. After 10 years, it worked. And I said, I'm done. I can't take it anymore. And he knew it was him. And I put my transfer in. And an hour later, I said, no, I'm not going to let you in. I don't give a damn. You're the captain. And he already had me transferred in 1 hour. So I lived with that prejudice my whole career there.
Yeah, he would be going effing guinea right behind people's backs and whatnot. And
Not as blunt. It was very subtle, and the subtle way of prejudice that you would know it, but if you weren't looking for it, the people around you probably wouldn't notice it. You know what I mean? That's the thing about prejudice. It's not as direct as you think it is. It's just little things like, oh yeah, that's why the Italians were called wops, little things to let you know that he felt that way. It was very subtle, but anyone that's been a person of prejudice, whether woman, black, white, gay, straight, whatever, when that prejudice is there. The look, the feel, the little side remarks is what it is. And like I said, when it happened, in a day, I was gone. one day, 1 hour.
Yeah.
He promoted me because he knew I was a good fireman. So when I put it in, he called that firehouse and said, "Oh, this is the best you could get," and made sure I got the job in a different firehouse so that he could get rid of me. So
And
it worked.
I didn't even know till I got older that I knew being called a guinea was like, for Italians, is like the equivalent of someone calling a black person the N-word, right? And I didn't.
The ignorance of prejudice, if we're on the subject, and I don't, but someone will say I drink Dago red, Dago referring to Italian. Are you a wop? They're all the worst words you could say to an Italian. And some people just don't know. So you sort of laugh it off. And, it's all around us. And my job is to educate and help and try to get rid of that prejudice in life. And we all have it.
So let's bring it full circle. So WAP, I didn't even know WAP was without papers, like
Working without papers.
working without papers, right? So what am I trying to accomplish here? That Italians had the same plight as black people? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That Italians had the same thing as Jewish people with the Holocaust? Absolutely not. The point I'm trying to drive home here is that the saying of "be a leader, not a savior," what comes before that is he would look at us and say, "No one's coming to save you." That's what our coach would say. No one is going to save you. You have to save yourself. But the awareness, I believe, is so integral. That the awareness that it's all around us. And when you think about this in a business term or a real estate term, especially when you're an entrepreneur, is no one's coming to save you, regardless of what brokerage you're at and regardless of what you do as a realtor or a business person. You can get as much awareness as you need, but ultimately you need to rise. You agree with that?
You bet. You bet.
You need to rise up and control what you can control. And same thing with the coronavirus. Like, there could be a vaccine, it could work or not. There could be a treatment, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to get your health in order. That's probably the strongest thing you can do in order to beat this out. And I believe that this conversation, and I'm not trying to understand or believe that I understand another man or woman's plight that is not me, right? I can only go from my own experiences in life and go from there. But what this undercurrent or underlying issue of our country and maybe the world is that people are on social media and they're on media in general, waiting for someone else to save them, waiting for someone else to give them certainty, and waiting for someone else to give them permission in order to rise. And that conversation in my head, if I'm looking at life, not left or right politically, not black or white or yellow or any color in between, I think the thing that we need to start doing first is owning our own situation. And that's where this comes into being a realtor. And what we are here to talk about is real estate issues, but also bringing current events into it. Our best realtors and the best stories of realtors succeeding are not because of you or I or Georgia or Jennifer doing the work for them. You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Is this just
Absolutely.
the Dave show today, or the Dave and Dave show today?
You had me talk about a lot already. I'm pretty good.
Okay. So what I mean by that is, like, when we see somebody have this kind of growth at our company, we are so proud and we feel like we've created an environment and we have led by example and put them in the best position to succeed with support, because people need to feel that mindset and have a mindset support. but we'll never take credit for people's success because we're not the ones who did the work. They did it. And before they're ever going to see success, and this is where it really comes all full circle, an agent or a business person or a person in life will have every single excuse known to man of why they're not succeeding, of what obstacles in their way. It's the brokerage, it's the leads, it's their friends, it's their network, it's the market. And they don't focus on what they need to focus on, and that is themselves. If something goes wrong at this company, if a broker or a staff member or an agent does something wrong, the first blame that I take and you take is, where did we drop the ball as owners and brokers and managers to not put them in the best position to succeed? And I think if we look at this, be a leader, not a savior, the whole way through, is we have to start pointing the finger first at ourselves and saying, shit, what can I do to make this situation better first? Where can I start with me first? Because if you don't, that's when you start getting into the game of pointing it in the wrong direction. Another great thing is you can't change anybody else, but you can change yourself. I'm going to kick you off this Facebook Live in 3 seconds.
You want to know what I'm doing?
Sure.
So for those of you who know me well, I tend to save everything. So I save all my emails, and my Gmail is saying that I can't get any mail because the mail is full. Come on, Davey, you love me. All
right, I'm going to bring this, since we have unbelievably almost 40 people watching. I'm going to, here's where I'm going to.
I am human, Dave. I humanize myself every day.
You sure do.
I am.
What I'm saying is we're walking around with high expectations and low action. We want everything to change. We want to be judgmental. We want to have an opinion about everything, but we're unwilling to actually do something about it. So be a leader, not a savior. Go out there and be responsible for your life. And guess what? You'll change the one person first, and that's you. And then off you go. And in business, listen, in business, it's like every possible thing. I always say it's like literally having a gun to your head every single day, because you're responsible for every single thing. And until you submit to the fact that no one is coming to save you and the only one is going to bring you success is you, until you submit to that, then nothing's going to change. So hopefully we did some justice to what's going on in the life and where we're going as a society. The people are going to succeed, or the people are going to be able to communicate a message and take full ownership of their actions, results, and life. All right, let's jump into some real estate, since I'm going to.
He's going to talk about me. I can tell you right now.
What?
You're blaming me. Let's jump into real estate. Now you're in my groove. Go. You're the professor.
I'm not the professor. What they don't know about you is because you're such a savior and you want to be happy. I wish they could listen to one conversation we have on the phone. One conversation where you're most vulnerable and most aggressive, because you're always like the sweet Dave Tina. Like, oh, I love Dave Sr. He's the nicest guy in the world. He helped me out. I love him. And
you're the bad guy. I like it.
I'm the spicy Dave Tina.
I like it. It.
So you're the sweet, I'm the spicy. But
well, they say opposites are good for business partners, right?
but we're not opposites. That's the catch. You know this. We're not opposites. We're the same. We're the same. You just don't. I'm going to put you on the spot. Everything that comes out of my mouth, my father's thinking. There you go. Bullshit. It's like I could tell so many stories of you losing your mind and being me, but I'm the
Not me.
I'm the unfiltered Dave Tina. That's really the difference. Sweet and spicy. There's the new name of the Dave and Dave show. Sweet and spicy show.
All right.
Let's jump into the power of now. So I'm sure a lot of you love. I got that book somewhere here. Eckhart Tolle. So, all right, we got some comments here. Here we go. We just got a lot of people watching. Feel free to ask questions. Power of now. The reason why I'm using the power of now is power of now right now in real estate. Like we spoke about this on the Broker Roundtable just for Nest Connect and our private group yesterday. But let's broadcast it out and share the wealth out to the broader public and especially the greater real estate industry in not only Las Vegas, but nationally, because I know we got a lot of people who watch all over the country. Next 90 days, Pop, I believe, is the single greatest opportunity of 2020, maybe in the last 5 years, if you're going to sell your house, is to sell your house. We are seeing this pent-up demand that was already existing prior to the coronavirus, prior to all the crazy stuff going on. Now, take that pent-up demand, add 60, 90 days of no one doing, of quarantine. Also, people protest all this stuff. Guess what? The market is on fire. On fire. We have agents with 16 in escrow, 12 in escrow, 9 in escrow, 20 in escrow. It's crazy. So if there was ever a time to sell your house,
It's now.
it's now.
It is now. And a lot of people don't realize. And then you get the ridiculously low interest rates and all that you're talking about. And people say, oh, why are you guys saying now? It's like, oh my God, I don't think there'd be a better time to buy or sell right now.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to weigh the pros and cons and the potential uncertainties and the potential certainties of what's coming, right? Let's give our best guesses. My best guess is this. My best guess is we're going to see sports come back. People's attentions are going to focus differently. I think we're seeing awareness through the roof with what's going on with BLM and things like that. And I think that people going back to work and things having more of a normalcy, that the next 36 to 90 days are going to be the hottest time, not just in weather, because normally we don't see usually July is like one of the worst times for real estate. It's kind of like the Christmas time in the summer, like everyone's on vacations, everyone's taking a break. This July, I think we're going to have a lot of real estate activity because what happened is everything got pushed 3 months or pushed back. So for instance, March, April, and May are supposed to be great months. And instead we had a market that's similar to December, January, and February.
That is true. The numbers showed that just came out.
Exactly. It was a decent market. Units were down, which we usually see over the holidays and the winter. So that's what ended up happening. So everything got pushed. March, April, and May is usually great. I think we're going to see June, July, and August mirror March, April, and May. So we're pushing 3 months. Does that make sense?
I totally agree.
And
then you have an election year in there, and you got to throw that in too.
Which, how do you see the election playing into the market this year? You see a lot of activity up to it and a little bit after. I mean, usually people wait to buy and sell until after the election.
Yeah, in this case, not being political, but just being what's happening. President Trump wants to keep the economy high, so he wants to keep the interest rates are ridiculously low. No matter who wins this election, That doesn't have to happen after the election. So I have never seen, and I've been in this business since I'm 25. So that's 20 years that I've been in. I've been
He's got a 40-year pin from NAR. So
right. I've been in 43 years, and I have never seen the interest rate this low. And the other thing I have to say, because I've been in New York markets, I am a member of the NAR board, I have never seen a major city like ours, and I still consider us a great city with everything to offer, so reasonable in price. Our pricing is like from a little small tiny town in Iowa. Our median price and their median price is the same. The example of that, like right now, our median price is 315, and Reno Sparks area up in the north, if you don't know, is 425. So basically what it's saying, if you took the median house, you could get a house for 315,000 here, which the same house would cost you 425,000 in Reno Sparks. So we are the most reasonable market I have ever dealt with in my career, ever.
I mean, it is a perfect storm, right? Still, so I was just reading an article that because of the last 3 months of no building, we're going to be even more of a supply issue moving forward. So regardless of what the markets do, and I do believe eventually we'll see a dip, but regardless of what the markets do, the commodity, as far as supply and demand, I believe for the rest of your life and mine.
Hey, Gray, hey, about my life.
We're not, I said mine too. I mean, hopefully I got a good 40 years left, right? I believe that we're going to have a supply issue. And then you got California. You know, Vegas people have such a love-hate with Californians, right? Like, don't make us California and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that without California, we really don't exist. You know, and what I like to say is we're the best suburb of California. You know, we've talked about this a lot because this suburb of California doesn't have state income tax. This suburb of California doesn't have a lot of those really difficult rules and taxes and restrictions. We don't have a state business tax. We have so many great things that you get to live close to California without having all the bad things. The only, to me, better place to live in California is in a beach city, but you're going to pay for it times 10, right? So what Reno Sparks area and Carson City and in Tahoe have similar to Vegas is they're feeders. They're feeders for California, and how everyone bails out of San Francisco and Oakland and Northern California, especially inland, Sacramento, they go up to Northern Nevada. When you bail out of Southern California, LA, Orange County, San Diego, you have Las Vegas. And that is why we are so well positioned as a city for the foreseeable future. The California exodus will always play the game, and the California market is still on fire. So you're right, between the pent-up demand, the low supply, the legislative issues, the low supply of land, because the other BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, doesn't release enough money because it's all release enough land.
Yeah.
Prices are going to go up. The only issue that we're going to potentially deal with is being priced out, but that's more for locals. You know, the locals have to make more money, the affordability issue. But someone coming from a pension from New York or a pension from California sold their house with tons of equity, and they're going to buy into a median price of 315. You know, that game has not changed, because you buy this little 16 square foot house, 1,600 square foot house that's 3 miles from the ocean that needs work, and you sell it for $1 million. You come out here for $1 million, you're in a guard gated community at 1 story, 3,000 square feet, and a pool. So that is the win for us. So now, why the next 90 days is the best time to buy? Why is the certain? Why not wait till October, November, December?
My favorite thing is Chicken Little. You know, I've known him since I was a kid, that the sky is falling. It was cartoons from my day. And I have listened to the great, what they call the great future tellers of this, brokers of this business. I've had brokers tell my agents, do not buy, it's going to crash. I had another broker was spewing to everyone, unload everything. The sky is falling. And none of that ever happened when they made those predictions. And now brokers are saying, oh my God, it's 08, it's 09. You need to wait till the market drops like that. Well, they're going to be waiting till my hair grows back on my head for that to happen. Because the market all through my 43 years has gone up and down. And the only crash I saw was 08 to the recovery at 13. That was a crash. But it's going to go down maybe a little bit because of this if coronavirus gets worse. But then again, the job report was better and it may stay constant. But to predict the future and tell you to buy or sell or give up is a very not good thing to do for agent brokers.
It's illegal.
It is.
It's illegal. That's the crystal ball.
I noticed that when we do make a statement, Dave and I make little bets all the time, and neither one of us have a problem of saying, I was wrong. These people that predict the future when they're wrong defend their wrongness, which is one of the major differences of our company. We're not perfect. There's no pee on our head for perfect. And we can make mistakes, but we're big enough people to say, I was wrong about that. Really, I may have said that and been wrong. And I think the secret of this market to me is that unless something drastic happens, we are on course. Yeah, it may go up, it may go down, but crash word or 08 word, or I'm gearing up for everything to foreclose, I don't see it. And numbers, Dave loves to talk about the shadow inventory. Oh my God, how many classes people gave that we were at saying it was going to crash, because when that shadow inventory comes, we're falling apart. Well, again, I'll grow hair on my head when the shadow inventory comes. So it's important to live in the now and just give generalities of where we think based on now what the future will be. That's my skill.
And that's a great point, because I'm ready to make not a prediction, but I like taking the best information that's available and going with it. Here's what I don't know. Here's my uncertainty. My uncertainty is that the payment protection program money, the PPP money, is going to run out for most companies in the next 30 days. The $600 a week extra of unemployment is going to run out July 31st, unless there's an extension. But this is another reason why you don't make too many predictions, because then the government comes in and bails people out and your predictions are wrong. But what I do know is the PPP money is going to be up, not up, you can still use it, but most people have used it. And the economy may change. And maybe there's a second wave. All of these things could have no impact whatsoever on the market. But I like having the best opportunity. And I feel like there is an optimism and momentum right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pop, coupled with low inventory, coupled with the fact that people are migrating away from big cities, coupled with low interest rates. I believe that the next 3 months are going to be an amazing opportunity to sell. I don't know what's going to happen in September, October, November, and December. As we get closer to that, I'll have my opinion. But all I do is I know right now that the market is hot and it is gaining steam. It is growing. So that is why I'm so strongly about, hey, control what you can control. We're right back to that. And right now, if I'm selling my house and I have this window of opportunity where I feel like I'm somewhat of in control, I'm gonna sell the house. Do you at least agree with that?
100%. 100%.
Okay. Last thing, since we're not going to have another Dave and Dave without a so this is I'm going to have let's here, I'm going to spice it up. Here's a conversation my father and I are going to have after we get off this. I'm going to call him and go, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You left me alone." He's going to go, "You love to talk anyway, so I didn't say anything." And I'm going to be like, "Well, I'm talking because you're not even looking at the screen." And then I'm going to call him a couple of curse words lovingly because he can handle it. And I'm going to say, I'm not doing another Dave and Dave ever again without having a guest because you leave me hanging by myself.
You love it.
That's what's going to happen.
You love it.
Because it's like the movie Wedding Crashers when he goes, "Leaving me in the trenches taking grenades, John." That's what you're doing right now.
I like doing that, to tell you the truth.
You're killing me. Killing me. Let's just round this out with what's going on at the Nest. We are on a tear with transactions. We can barely keep up. Georgia Papora, broker Summerlin, Jennifer Hill, broker over at Southwest. We are interviewing and hiring like crazy. I did a video the other day reminding everybody that we cap. And I don't mean cap the amount of deals and then, that's a different cap. We actually cap the amount of agents we have here. Why is that unique? It's unique because we're a large company that can easily have 700, 800, 1,000 agents. But we found that our sweet spot is 500. And it had given us the ability to have deeper connection and availability and service for our agents. While we take responsibility for our agents, we don't take we don't take credit for their success. We know that less agents, more help, especially as a big brokerage, is what makes a difference. We have 5 leaders at our company. My father, myself, who you see as brokers and owners, Georgia and Jennifer as brokers, and then Danny Burns as our director of operations. We have a ratio that's less than 1 broker per 100 agents. In addition, we have agents that will reach out to multiple brokers for different perspectives. That's the difference. That's what it comes down to, guys. If you're an agent, why are your clients going to use you? It's because you're memorable and because you're available. And because you have expertise and knowledge at a high level. That's the difference. So that's the difference of, we believe, Urban Net. And we have said this a year ago, we're capping. And brokerages love to copy each other on services and things like that. I've yet to see a brokerage come out and copy us and say, "You know what, we're going to cap our company too." Because it's literally, they think that they're saying no to money. And if you
right?
Why
does it say what they say?
Oh, they also say Dave and Dave are going to hit 500, and then they're going to say, "Just kidding," and go above 500.
Right.
That's the way they like to undermine our game, our belief. This came from the movie Warrior, or 300. You know the movie 300? 300 Spartans going to war, and they're like, they meet up. This is one of my mentor Garrett's favorite stories, and I loved the movie even before I met Garrett. But they bring 300 soldiers, and they reach up with I forgot the name, the Chaldeans or something, other Greeks, and they're like, "You only brought 300," and King Leonidas is like, "You over there, what are you, soldier?" And he's like, "I'm a potter." And he goes, "You over there, what are you, soldier?" He goes, "I'm a blacksmith." And he looks at his Spartans and he goes, "Spartan, what's your profession?" And they go, "Ooh, ooh, right?" And he goes, "Sorry, my friend, we actually brought more soldiers than you." And that's the reality with us. We're bringing 500 real estate Spartans to the game. And that's it.
No,
Ready to do real estate. You like that, Pop?
I do, because that's why we need more listings. That's why we have so many sales. That's why all those bigger companies are crazy that we're in the top 5 of business every single month almost since we opened, because you could do it the right way with honesty, integrity, and keep who you are and do it honest and still be successful and happy and laugh.
Listen, there's some great companies out there. So I'm not saying that there aren't other companies doing it fantastically. There's some really good friends of mine that I talk to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, brokers and owners of other companies that are doing good. But yet nobody has drawn that line in the sand and say, this is what we stand for. This is what we're willing to do. Because what that forces us to do is commit to them, because we're not successful without our agents being successful, because then the only way we can grow is by the growth of our agents' business. So it puts the pressure on to us. Fair?
Fair.
It holds us accountable at a higher level. That's why that quality over quantity, that's been our mission from day one. And, we've been hiring a lot of agents, Pops, which is interesting. Like, in a time of so much uncertainty, agents are jumping ship. And the stories we get all the time are like, listen, we don't want to, like, I was talking to a guy, he's like, I'm sick of all the rah-rah in my company. I'm sick of trying to have to recruit for them. I just want to learn and do business. And I said, well, that's all we expect from you here. And then another company, a guy is like, I don't want to show up to every meeting. I don't want to have to do all that. I just want to know that you're there when I need you. And I'm like, listen, all of our video, all of our training, everything is free. Even our Buffini training, which costs $395, we reimburse you when you finish it. So no training at Urban Nest costs you a penny, whereas other companies it does. And I say, and you don't have to come into the office. You can. We'll teach it to you. Not yet. I mean, when the government opens it up, we'll be in front of you again. But we'll teach it to you in person. We'll teach you it online, and then you will teach it to you on demand, right? So it's like, let's simplify the whole process with this. We're here for you. And at the end of the day, I think people just want to be noticed and recognized. Don't you agree, Pop?
That's all. Everyone wants their share of being recognized. That's all. Knowing what they do and appreciate it. And that's what we try to do. Appreciate them for all the good business. There's no bigger thrill that Dave and I get when they go, oh, I know Dave and Dave. They're honest, fair guys. But there's no bigger thrill that Dave and I get than they say to us, man, Urban Nest agent brings an offer in. They are the greatest, responsive, most honest agents out there. Then Dave and I feels proud. Look what we've created. Look at the people that surround us. So money is a great thing for the agent, for the brokers, for the owners, but pride in what you do and who you are is more important to us than the money that we receive for it.
I mean, listen, I always say I want to impact millions and I want to make millions. but the impact millions has to be first for me, right? But we always say there's always problems and possibilities. And the biggest problem in real estate is it's the loneliest business in the world. And the further people get away from their business, from their office, is less of opportunities to connect and learn. And that's why there's so many agents running around there not knowing how to do real estate, because they have no one to talk to, they have no one to connect to, they got nowhere to plug into. And I think that's the biggest difference: being heard, being appreciated, and feeling like you're being a part of something without having to physically be there all the time. So I think that's a big play. And everything we do as a brokerage, we encourage and teach our agents to do as agents, because your clients, they want to be heard, they want to be appreciated as well, and they want to decide how much they're involved with you. They want FaceTime, they want the rapport, but they also want you to DocuSign everything over them because they don't want to be there every minute, right? So am I wrong? Like, so it's a great way of brokerage takes care of agents the way agents supposed to take care of clients. Simple as that. So we've talked on three major things today. We talked about current events and how being a leader and a savior plays into how being an entrepreneur and a realtor. We talked about the power of now, which in real estate, there's a cliche of it's always a good time to buy and it's always a good time to sell, which has been like perverted into this terrible salesy thing, but it's the truth. Because if your motivation and reason to buy and sell is there, then if you do it correctly, that is a true statement. So the power of now. And then lastly, your impact inside of your business and the reasons why you're at a brokerage and the reason why you do what you do. So those are three biggies today. Pops, bring us home with your takeaway. Birthday boy.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, Dave mentioned, yeah, I did get over 1,000 happy birthdays, but number one, I got to tell you, thank you. And I answered every single one of them and made a comment. But you know what the fun of it? I don't care about the number. Some of the happy birthdays were from Dave's fellow kindergarten people that we danced on the street at little parades in the small town I raised them. Some of them are agents no longer with me, but still saying, I love you and have a great birthday. And some are from friends in my horse world when I had horses. Some of my fire department friends. And what I'm saying is the thrill of it, the goodness I feel, and the thank you everyone out there, is that we're still connected. You still care enough to do that. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thought of everyone that sent, and I got a visual of where they were, when and where in my life. So thank you for that. It made my day. Thank you.
And I know I wrote some nice words today, but what you just said made me think of something. That's a testament to the impact that you've had on the people in your life, like the impact of your impact on their lives. And out of all the things that you've taught me or led by example, the thing most that I have taken away and tried to emulate the most, and hopefully it's ingrained in me, is how I believe they all remember you and love you because you've left them better than you found them. You've impacted their lives in a way that made them better people because you cared so much. And that's something that you can't fake. That's the most realist thing about you. For all your faults and your good things about you, that's the best thing about you, Pop. And that's the thing that I love the most about you being my father, is you give so much. And I think that really resonates with people, that because you were in their life, it's better in some way, even if it's just a little bit. So it's a good way to close it out, my friend. Even though you weren't, one of the faults is, God forbid, you pay attention for 1 minute, but we'll leave it at that. Episode 72 in the books. We will see you soon. Take care.
Thanks.